Good evening. I'm Chrissy Metz, and I'll be playing the role of Holly Spiegel. When you think of a penny, you think of all the places it's been, and it's actually kind of gross. But let me invite you to respond differently to the penny. The penny is dirty, and that's the reality that sometimes we're handed, but it's how you respond to it that matters. So looking at it from a different angle and realizing that every penny could make all the difference in another life, that is how I model resilience. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer a little over a year ago, my first thoughts were, how do I model resilience? Then my thoughts swiftly shifted to, what do I name the two masses that they found in my breast? Because unlike Harry Potter, I can't fight something that shall not be named. So I lovingly named them Bitch and Felicia. Fully looking forward to the mastectomy day when I could happily cry out, "Step off, bitch!" and "Bye, Felicia!" with a delighted roar as they wheeled me into the operating room. I have the distinct pleasure of overseeing MPTF's Home Safe Home program, along with my colleague Kim Hall. In short, I make sure our industry-connected seniors live in the safest environment available to them through safety evaluations and low-cost modifications. Sometimes we literally save lives. Like Wonder Woman, but with a little more clothes. The very first project I organized, we walked into an elderly gentleman's house and the floor caved in. By the time we were done, his house was a home again. Another client, an animator, could no longer sit at a desk due to physical limitations, and we helped track down a table that he could sit in his bed with, and his ability to draw comfortably was restored. Just that small modification changed his emotional well-being immensely. So with our industry volunteers, we install handrails in bathtubs, we remove loose rugs that might cause a fall, enhance lighting, and build exterior ramps and walkways, all in an effort to change people's lives. Now, although my husband Todd and I never worked in the movies, my introduction to MPTF is the stuff of movies. Boy meets girl, boy marries girl, boy and girl embark upon their own architecture business that lands a boy a gig with our hero, MPTF. See, Todd specializes in the design and build of senior living communities, so we were thrilled when he was hired as an on-site project architect for the team that built both the Saban building and the Stark Villa here at MPTF. And while most people struggle to get in the front door of Hollywood, we sort of had accidentally entered the side door via MPTF. And don't worry, we brought snacks, we were invited guests after all. So then, of course, comes our antagonist, the recession, which left us with a ton of time on our hands, and as it did with everyone in architecture. And that's when the aforementioned girl in this story hopped over to USC and became certified in senior environments for individual homes. So cue the montage scene here and show the passage of time, because it wasn't until a lovely day in June of 2010 that the aforementioned boy informs me of Gail Sheehy's book, Reading, hosted by MPTF. So naturally we attended, and not so naturally, Todd points emphatically at a volunteer list as we exit. "Oh, look," he exclaims like a bad line reading, "they have volunteer tables and a home safety program. Maybe they could use your help." I couldn't resist the eyelash batting heard from around the world of that man who clearly orchestrated the entire event. And as no surprise to Todd, I'm sure, MPTF called the very next day. I began volunteering, and soon after they brought me on board, and here I am to tell the tale. But then, as every movie has, a conflict, a stronger foe perhaps than a recession. Enter breast cancer. The thing is, at my core, I'm a happy person. So there was no way in hell that I was gonna let breast cancer change who I am, because I didn't choose to have cancer, but I do get to choose how I react to it. So naturally, I reacted to it with chocolate and costumes. Lots and lots of costumes, fairy dust, and some tutus. Well, hold on. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The chocolate, right? So on September 22nd, I was slated to be rolling into surgery, and right around noon, and as many Americans want to do, I turned to Facebook. I invited my friends and family across the world to join me in partaking in a piece of chocolate at the same time that I'd be down and out in surgery, and to post a picture of the event on my Facebook page. Okay, I know it sounds like a simple task, asking people to eat chocolate. I know, it's just chocolate. And I'm twisting your arms, it's chocolate. But listen, I live in LA, and to my knowledge, there is no gluten-free, paleo, vegan, carb-less chocolate out there. So I thought that I was gonna lose my biggest support system. I didn't though, because at noon on September 22nd, my Facebook page was flooded with pictures of chocolate. So many delicious morsels danced across my page that Willy Wonka himself sat in a jealous rage. My daughter, Ilana, bought out the entire chocolate aisle at her local CVS, which I'm sure caused all the employees to run screaming in fear. And she offered it to her class. That bag of chocolate got passed around the entire classroom. And of course, in a room full of millennials, no offense, it should come as no surprise to anyone at all that the chocolate was taken by the time the bag was returned to Ilana. What should come as a surprise, however, is that the bag was not returned empty. For in the place of the chocolates were notes of cheer, notes of support, notes of peace, notes telling her that everything was going to be okay. This was the perfect metaphor for my MPTF family, all of these years of passing out metaphorical chocolate to those in need. And I came to find out I was the only one with a bag full of love and support. That as rich as chocolate may have been, I was the richest of all. My MPTF family got the news of my diagnosis before my actual family did, and they literally held my hand while I called my husband and I broke the news. They made me realize that I had spent many years taking care of our own, only to find I had become one of our own that we had always talked about. But my story doesn't end there, and in fact, my story doesn't end yet at all, so put away the tissues. As I labored over what to wear on the Step Off Bitch and Bye Felicia Day, I remembered this magical world that I live in, and I thought naturally of mermaids. See, mermaids were the perfect imagery for fighting back against breast cancer. After all, what do mermaids have in spades? Hair and boobs. And cancer was about to take both. So that's what I did. I showed up in full-on mermaid regalia. For subsequent chemo appointments, I donned even more costumes. Wonder Woman arrived for chemo, Rosie the Riveter showed up for her chemo fix, and a fairy flitted in for her appointment as soon as a swashbuckling lady pirate swung onto the scene. It was a magical world, and it was mine, where I had control over the characters. Part of the story was written for me, but the character's reaction to it, it was all mine. And I thought about the fact that everything happens for a reason. When I started this journey, I told myself that. I told myself that because that's what you tell yourself. That's what you mindlessly mutter to yourself to get through the hard times. But this is when I actually embodied that thought. I took it in, I swirled it around, and I realized that the lesson that I was being taught is that I love helping people. I feel like it's a part of my treatment plan. Helping people is my drug in all the ways that it can be. Helping people makes me feel good, and like a drug, when I do too much of it, I sometimes end up hurting myself. The best lesson that my MPTF family taught me was learning to receive help and support. To know that I don't always have to give, and that sometimes I can let the bag come back to me without the chocolate, but with the notes of love, support in its place. Because that's the beauty of MPTF, the give and the take of everything. So when I met Alex Aguilar, business manager for the local 724, it was on a night just like this one, literally, it was the same event. I had just heard his story about a tough time where he needed MPTF, and we had aided him through it. So I held out my hand, introduced myself, and invited him to give back by donating his time and expertise to our Home Safe Home program. He didn't even hesitate, because again, that's the beauty of MPTF, the give and the take of everything. When someone is in need, we help them, we soothe their woes, and then when they're flying, high again, we give back, and we help the others in need. Sometimes you have to jump in like we do in the Home Safe Home program. Sometimes you have to stand on the table saw in the pouring rain so someone can make a precarious cut. That's what you do. And sometimes the doctor tells you that you're not supposed to be moving your arm, so Michael Miller, International VP of the IATSE, wraps you up in his grip tape until you look like a mummy so that you don't use the said arm. And the give and the take. When people need help, we give it. When they offer help, we take it. Like one of those take a penny, leave a penny dishes. And the greatest thing MPTF taught me is that there always will be a time where I have to know it's okay to take a penny, because goodness knows I'm used to getting my hands dirty. So Holly's here with us tonight, and she is a warrior and a community builder, and her life is about connecting and bettering the lives of those in our industry. Therefore, here's a bag of chocolate that you could share tonight, and a small token of an autographed Wolverine picture by none other than the Hugh Jackman.